everyone, and welcome to Huddle in Place with the Nine-Sided Circle. It is April 21st, 2020, and we are on episode 28. I'm one of your hosts, Noor Kyle, and I'm in Los Angeles, along with...
And I am the other one of your hosts, Mushtaq Ali, and I am somewhere.
You're out in the wilderness again.
In spirit.
Yep.
In body, I'm somewhere in the Bay Area, hiding from the virus.
Yep. We're all hiding from the virus, most of us anyway.
So, Lady Noor, what shall we talk about this evening? I just lost your sound.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay. Technical difficulties sometimes. All right, so we wanted to return to our Precepts of the Sufi Path series. So this is going to be part 2 of that. These are our precepts according to us, how we interpret them, how we have internalized them. And today we'll be going over 5 more. So first we have: the quality of a real teacher is to give, not to receive.
Da-da-dum.
Yeah, so the way we understand that is that the teacher is there to be a guide, to be a conduit of tradition and of experiential lessons and knowledge. What they're not there to do is be someone who's in it to get money, get fame, get flunkies, or get gifts.
Yeah, which is not to say that you might not end up paying a teacher for his time, but that will not be their motivation.
Right, yeah.
A real teacher is not motivated first by a profit. They are motivated by their work and their desire to share their work.
Yeah. And
that being said, you pay somebody for their time.
Yeah, I mean, this is, especially when you're working with someone who's really putting in the time and the energy to work on their own ego, to function outside of their own ego traps, and who's focused on working for the good of humanity. Yeah, I mean, we all have practical needs that need to be met as well. So even with a teacher, that's going to be the case.
Yeah, but it won't be the main case. I remember a story about Adyashanti, who is he's one of the enlightened guys around here. And this guy was going to write an expose on him because he thought that all teachers were like out for their money and stuff. And so he went there and he said, I really want to come to this talk and I don't have any money, so I can't pay your door fee. And the person who was at the door said, oh, sure, come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's, yeah, I mean, it's nice that people can contribute, but it's not meant to be exploitative at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have.
There's that. What do we got next?
We have: universe is within the human being. The human being is within universe.
As above, so below.
Yep.
As inside, so outside.
Yeah. And when we were prepping for this, we talked about the human universe continuum.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes, we are not an object existing within a bigger object. We are not a block inside a box. We are part of a continuum that starts with the infinitesimal and finishes with the all.
Yep.
So
yep.
There.
And, that's why we talk about non-duality and stuff like that. I mean, we try not to get caught up in labels and boxes like that. But this is kind of hinting at that in the sense that the universe and the human being are not discrete, separate objects with no connection in between, or only, you know, connected through relationship. One is intrinsically part of the other.
Yeah, like that. What's the next one?
All right, for our third one today, we have science is the light illuminating the way toward reality.
This is important. Science, in this sense, is a method of inquiry that gives precedence to reality. It's a way of testing for reality. And so scientific method was developed extensively by Muslim scientists in the golden age of Islam back, 1,000 years ago. From their work with the Greek manuscripts and their own inquiry. And it became part of at least some Sufi traditions that you need to be able to approach things not knowing. The first thing about science is you admit that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then you form a hypothesis. Well, maybe it's this. You don't know if it's this. You don't go, oh, I'm pretty sure it's this, so we're going to test for this.
Yes.
Maybe it's this, and then you test to see if that's true.
And what this means is being brave enough to ask questions.
Yes.
So that you can come up with hypothetical answers to those questions.
And brave enough to get answers that you weren't expecting.
Yes, so true.
Yeah, it's like when you finally do the experiment that proves that there is a God and you discover that she's black.
Yeah, perhaps so.
I mean, yes, that's a bit of an absurdity, but it's that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, so that means getting into trusting the results after testing and retesting, and
yeah, but never being sure.
This is true.
One of the wonderful things about science is you can never say this is the truth.
Right. Yep.
You can only do that in math.
Yeah, we talked about theory, right?
Yeah. A scientific theory is not, oh, maybe it's this. It's, I have tested this 10,000 times and come up with the same result. Therefore, I'm pretty sure, unless I come up with 10,001 and it doesn't work, that this is correct. Mm-hmm. But it's always that little bit of, I'm pretty sure.
Right. And that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things about anything in science is that it must be falsifiable. Mm-hmm. If there is not a possibility of proving it false, you cannot make a scientific inquiry about it.
Right. Yep.
And that gets us to?
That gets us to our next precept, which is the path not guided by science ends in darkness.
Yes. Think about all of the silly superstitions that we have been heir to over the history of humanity. Everything from Glog, the sky god, bringing rain by pissing down upon the heads of humans, if we get him drunk enough by pouring libations onto his altar, to bizarre beliefs about people's personalities and all of these qualities because of the amount of melanin they have in their skin. Mm-hmm. These are all superstitions. They have nothing to do with science. And without science, we are the victims of superstition.
Right. And an important thing to think about in regard to this precept is that there's a difference between being guided by and ruled by.
Yes.
Yes. So when we speak about being guided by science. This is a really important idea, and it's very different from being ruled by science. So what might we like to say about that?
Being guided by science is like being guided by a compass.
Mhm.
It points in a direction.
Yeah,
It says, truth is in this direction. These other directions we know now are full of not truth. And so you are guided, so you walk in that direction, but you don't expect that the compass is going to tell you what the truth is.
right. Yep.
Yeah. The compass points at Mecca. The compass is not Mecca.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, and we've discussed also, viewing otherwise valuable mythology as objective reality. And
Yes.
that's an important thing to think about. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, but you also understand that context is important.
Yes. The map is not the territory, but
Right.
without the map, you may not be able to traverse the territory.
Mhm. Yeah. And mythology often serves that role.
Yep. Mythology is oftentimes the best mythology has the signposts that get you across the territory.
Yes. Yep. So we value that too. It's just
Yeah.
all of this is tied together.
Which gets us to our last precept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So our last precept for today's chat is our way has been established in science, objective knowledge, and love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Science without love is empty, hollow. Love without science is squishy and sloppy and hard to get off the sleeve of your jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want to be squishy and soft, and we don't want to be hard and empty. And objective knowledge is the reconciling force between those two. Now, what is objective knowledge?
Hmm. Yeah. It is that which you can know to be true under all circumstances.
Yes. So there is not a lot of objective knowledge in the universe, but there is some. And a core part of the spiritual path is discovering what that objective knowledge is.
Mm.
You know, one of the enlightened guys says, sit down, ask yourself what is true. Keep asking until you find the answer. That gets you to objective knowledge. Ramana Maharishi said, sit down, ask yourself who you are until you find the answer. That gets you to objective knowledge.
Would you say that it's a digging deeper?
It is a digging deeper, and it is a via negativa.
Hmm.
It is a throwing away of that which is not true.
Hmm.
And when you throw away everything that is not true, what's left is true. It's objective knowledge.
So that might be something to unpack over time. Obviously,
Yep. We might do a lecture on Descartes at some point.
So these are just little tidbits to think about, something thoughtful to meditate on while we all spend time huddling in place. And
Yeah.
we have a few more that we'll be adding when we return to the topic of our precepts.
Yeah, when you are tired of watching reruns of I Love Lucy, think about these things.
So, do we have anything else to add?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Cool.
So we will say good night.
Yeah. Take care.
Good night, Noor.
Good night, Mushtaq.